Since 1982, the Covenant House has provided shelter and service to many homeless youth. What was the motive to starting the foundation in the first place?
Okay, description. So we were founded in 1982, like you said. Our founder's name is Cardinal Carter, and basically he looked outside his office window one day and noticed that there was a lot of homeless youth on the street and, wanted to do something about it. At that point in time, Covenant House New York had been established, so we got in touch with them about best practices and started Covenant House here in Toronto. We started as a 30-bed shelter spread out sort of over different locations, kind of like a university campus, where like one thing would be in one building, your shelter would be in another, your food elsewhere, that kind of thing. So it's very different from what we are today, because we're a 94-bed shelter here, and then we have an additional 28 beds in our transitional housing.
Is it often full?
Yeah, we operate on capacity pretty much every night. So we see up to 250 kids on any given day, and that includes kids that are not just staying with us, but those that access our programs and things like our drop-in center, stuff like that.
Why the youth rather than any other age group? Is it only the youth?
So I'm not exactly sure why he decided to focus on youth specifically, but anyone under the age of 16, it's government mandated, to get in touch with Child Protective Services, and that's kind of something that's out of our control. And then over the age of 25, so they can stay here from when they turn 16 to when they turn 25. And then after that, they would age out and hopefully not need our services or anyone else's, but if they did, they would have to go to an adult shelter. So that's kind of how we operate with that age range, but I'm not sure. So the age range is 16 to 24. So I'd say that the majority of our kids are probably in the 18 to 24 range. But I don't know the exact numbers.
Do you think that what you do at the Covenant House could prevent or be related to any other charities' work?
Well, there are lots of other youth shelters in the city of Toronto. I don't know the exact number. But yeah, I think something that makes us different at Covenant House is we have what we call like the Covenant, and that's kind of how we interact with not only like our kids, but staff and like people who are visiting, and it's sort of like the promise to treat individuals with respect and our kids with unconditional love. And so being there, supporting them in that, I think that makes us a bit different from maybe some other organizations. So for sure, we're an abstinent. So if you're specifically interested in like that substance abuse piece, we're an abstinence-based shelter. So that means you can't be under the influence of drugs or alcohol while you're staying here. So yes, our kids, by staying here, will kind of keep them out of abusing any drugs or alcohol. But there are kids that come to us that, they have had a drug problem in the past, and we would help them sort of overcome that. So we would help them with whatever it is that they need.
So do your staff require any special training prior to being hired?
Yes. So we have, I think it's over 250 staff. About 150 or so are full-time. The rest would be part-time contract. And the people who work directly with our kids definitely need to have training in terms of like crisis and trauma and like all the different reasons that our kids are coming to us. They need to be able to deal with what's going on in their life and be able to help them in any way that they need. So for sure, they definitely need training. We also have like an on-site healthcare clinic, so the people there, they're real doctors and real nurses. We have a school on site. They're real teachers affiliated with the Catholic District School Board. Megan and myself, we work in the administrative offices up here, but we also have specific training in order to do our jobs, whether that's college or university and things like that.
Does 100% of the funds raised go towards helping the youth?
No. So a large majority of it would, but there's a full breakdown in our annual report here and sort of how we spend our money. So about 65% is going directly to youth specific programs, and then there's other things that we need to pay for, so like staffing and administration, costs and things like that.
All right. What kind of fundraisers do you guys do?
So that's where the area that Megan and I are working right now is fundraising events. So our key one, I would say, is our sleep out event, and that's an experience where you get to sleep out on the street, to know what it's like to be a homeless youth, and the participants in that commit to raising different levels of money. So for our executive sleep out, they raise a minimum $5,000, and we do it again in the spring. That's coming up in April. That's like our next generation, and we're doing it again the first time this year in May. It's going to be a women's only event. So we do that 3 times a year. We have a community TTC coin drive that we do that raises over $10,000. We have one that's coming up in about a month's time. It's called Guts and Glory, and it's basically a corporate athletic challenge event, and it's set to raise over $400,000. What else am I missing? Last year we did a wine event, but we're not doing it again this year. And then instead we're doing a Grand Commission event that's really new and I don't really know much about, but it's going to be fun, I'm sure.
What are some of the charity's proudest moments?
Well, I guess the most recent one would be the opening of the Rogers home. So you could probably find some recent articles about that. It was opened just in the fall, and basically it's a separate facility from this one here. It's close by, but we're not disclosing the location, but it's specific to girls that are involved in trafficking. So it houses 7 young girls at a time, and it's called the Rogers Home. And basically they just need different care and also different staff with different training on how to deal with the experiences they've been through, because they can be quite traumatic. And it's very new, so we're excited about that.
Could you tell us about a special visitor that you have helped to succeed?
The one in particular that I know is about a youth. His name was Stephen. He was living in a city park in the wintertime, and he came to us. He had a problem with drugs at the time, specifically crystal meth. And he stayed with us for about a year, I think, and since then he's moved on and he's no longer here, but he does come back from time to time to speak at our events. And he's actually the store manager at Godiva Chocolates in the Eaton Center, so he's done very well.
What is the ratio of hired help to volunteers?
We have more paid staff than we do volunteers. So we have about 250 staff, and then we'll have another 120 or so active volunteers, but that includes our board and mentors as well. The length of stay has been increasing. I think in prior years it had been close to 2 weeks. I think now it's closer to 5. But that could be spread over like a longer period of time, because kids won't necessarily come and stay. They'll come for a few days and then they'll go and live with a friend or be discharged, and then they'll come back. So it could be over a much longer period of time, if that makes sense.
And if you guys run out of beds and kids are still like coming to your charity, what will you do then?
So we wouldn't really ever, not that we can't turn people away, but we would hope that we could find them somewhere else to stay. So we have sort of like similar to what a hotel lookup would be. So we can connect with other shelters in the area and give them a call and see if the bed is available, and then provide a youth with like a TTC token or a taxi chit in order to get there. If it was like the middle of the night, I think we would sort of make room. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis, but yeah, if we're full, we just refer them elsewhere.
All right, thank you very much.